Hello and welcome to the show with me, JP. Today I'm going to be doing something different. I'm going to be looking at the Golden Joysticks, the nominations for each category, going through them with sort of my opinions of the games I've played, my impressions of the games I haven't played, and finally with a prediction for each category. And then once it's all been announced, I'll go through and see if I was right, see what I think of the winner, if I was wrong, so on and so forth. So let's get started. Category number 1 is Best Newcomer, and in the category we have Injustice, Gods Among Us, The Last of Us, The Walking Dead, Dishonored, Hotline Miami, Dust 514, Forza Horizon, Zombie U, Remember Me, Ni no Kuni, Wrath of the White Witch, Daisy, and State of Decay. Dishonored was just brilliant, particularly with the DLC. I think the DLC's really kind of bolstered the whole storyline, seeing what was going on in the background, because it seems to be very much a game of layers. There's always these different things going on, and then you've got the outsider with his hidden agenda, and there's all these layers throughout the whole game. So Dishonored was fantastic, and is the one I'll be voting for, certainly. But The Walking Dead, which I haven't played, unfortunately, but it was just, I guess, I don't know, groundbreaking I think is an overused term, but it kind of was, in a way. And it kind of makes you realize that this has been a really long and prosperous year for gaming, because The Walking Dead seems like it was out like ages ago. The Last of Us, I watched a playthrough of it. I didn't actually play it myself because I don't have a PS3, basically. But I can't say I hold it in too high regard. I mean, the storyline seemed cool, but I kind of felt like it was pretending to be a lot deeper than it actually was. It was an interesting look at the human condition, but it's nothing that we haven't seen before in a kind of zombie apocalypse scenario, that people kind of turn into selfish buggers when they've lost people and all that kind of stuff. I don't think the story actually broke a huge amount of new ground, really. But it did look stunning, so there's that. And whether or not they can have a sequel to it and make a franchise out of it remains to be seen. I think they're going to try, because people like money. I played Hotline Miami a tiny bit, and it's a brilliant, difficult, brutal game. Really, really good, but Dishonored still takes it in my mind. But my final prediction for the category of Best Newcomer will be The Walking Dead, because it garnered so much love at the beginning of the year, so I think it pretty much has to win. And this is one of the categories that I'm most confident about. Now on to Best Online Game. This is quite a big category, so here we go. You've got EVE Online Odyssey, Dota 2, World of Warcraft Mists of Pandaria, Shoot Mania Storm, Firefall, PlanetSide 2, SimCity, Daisy, World of Tanks, Curiosity, What's Inside the Cube, Defiance, League of Legends, Guild Wars 2, RuneScape 3, Final Fantasy XIV A Realm Reborn, Star Wars The Old Republic, Disney Infinite, The Secret World, Rift, and Aeon. Whew. Of the ones I've played, Dota 2 I've played. It was fun. It's not really my style of game, and I don't think it'll win, but it was fun. I played a tiny wee bit of the trial of World of Warcraft Mists of Pandaria, because I played right up until the end of Cataclysm for like 3 or 4 years. And I played a little tiny bit of Pandaria, but the game's just stale for me. And it's profoundly successful. It's on the decline now. I think it's dipped below 8 million subscribers now, but it's a monolith. It's a titan of the gaming industry as a whole, and specifically MMOs. Nothing will ever be as big as World of Warcraft was, ever. It's just unprecedented and incredible and stuff. But there's nothing left for it for me now. And saying that after you've played a video game for 4 years is still very impressive. If a video game can hold your interest day in, day out, pretty much, when I was playing it like really hardcore, for 4 years, 3 or 4 years, that's very impressive. So it's a great game. And from what I've heard with Mists of Pandaria, they have done a lot of new stuff. The questing's been very good. The new areas have been very interesting. They've released sort of a Rift-like system on, I think it's called the Timeless Isle. So they're doing a lot of new stuff with it, but I think it's too much of an old dog to actually win this category. I played quite a bit of PlanetSide 2, and that game's just great. The only problem with it I found, actually, is it's best if you're with friends. Being able to join up to a random squad is great, and you can be in a very moving battle with great momentum behind it, with your tanks coming in and your infantry running across the field, and it's epic, and there are people being shot behind you and people taking sniper fire and all sorts of stuff, and it's great. But playing with friends just makes the game like 10 times better, and I think that's something that should come up a lot with MMOs. Playing with friends is always better, but particularly with PlanetSide 2, because you can have the tactical essence of that game is in being able to communicate with voice comms and say, yeah, I'm going through here, I'm supporting this guy, I'm going to heal this guy, I'm going over here, I'm going to capture this point, blah, 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 blah. So I played some League of Legends, and much like Dota 2, it's just not really my kind of game, really, and I don't think it'll win. Now, Guild Wars 2. Guild Wars 2 is the game that I've put the most time into in this category recently, and it's phenomenal. It's a brilliant game. It's excellent fun. I had such good times with it. Again, mostly because of the friends I was playing it with, but also because of the game itself is just fantastic. And I really like what they're doing at the moment with the living story, moving the game forward on a monthly, if not like fortnightly basis, which is just fantastic, and they're putting so much time into the development of the game. I don't particularly like where it's going with ascended items, and I haven't been playing it as much recently because it just hasn't been holding my attention. But that being said, I've put in well over 1,000 hours into the game over the past year, so 1,000 hours for like £40 worth of game is pretty incredible, and being able to hold my attention for that long is amazing. But it's kind of losing me at the moment, much like World of Warcraft did. And it's not held me for as long as World of Warcraft did, interestingly. I think the questing's becoming a bit stale, actually, because once you've moved through an area and done all of the heart quests, it is very rinse and repeat. Not so much as World of Warcraft, which is more of a kind of quest grind, as it were, where you're picking up quests and moving on to the next area and picking up more quests and moving on. But it is kind of the same thing, essentially. If you boil it all down, it is the same thing. It's a different way to do the same thing, of course, but it is still very much a grindy MMO in certain regards. I've played both the Secret World and Rift, not a huge amount in each. The Secret World is interesting as all hell, and very, very complicated as well. Particularly investigation missions. They are the highlight, where you actually have to be using Google to look things up, and not just the solutions, because that's cheating and you're a bad person if you do that, but looking up sort of who wrote this text in this year, and it's an actual person who actually wrote something in like 1783, and that has bearing on how you solve the puzzle in the game. Incredibly creative, and they clearly spent a lot of time writing those little quest lines, and they are the best. You can spend like 2 hours solving one quest, and not a minute of that time is frustrating or annoying or grindy. That's brilliant. And the dungeon content that I've done so far was really fun on Secret World. Rift, not so much. It's World of Warcraft, pretty much. It's World of Warcraft with bits rehashed and changed and tweaked here and there. It's one of the closest World of Warcraft clones I've played, personally. But, if you're looking for World of Warcraft but you don't want to pay a subscription, then Rift is great, frankly. And that's one of the things that turned me off of World of Warcraft, is that I didn't feel like I was getting my money's worth anymore out of the month. And that's one of the reasons I stopped subscribing. Maybe if it was less or if it was free, I'd still be playing World of Warcraft now. But feeling like you're grinding along and paying for it at the same time isn't a great feeling, when there are so many games that you could be buying for like £9 a month that are great and that broaden your horizons in gaming, as it were. But subscription models aside, that's like a whole nother video conversation, basically. I think the winner of that category will probably be... I'm going to take a punt and go Guild Wars 2. Let's see if Guild Wars 2, that's the one I'd vote for, and that's the one I hope will win. On to Best Indie Game. Best Indie Game we have Hotline Miami, Gunpoint, Mark of the Ninja, State of Decay, Guacamelee, The Unfinished Swan, Ridiculous Fishing, just ridiculous, Fast and Light, and Super Hexagon. Now, other ones I played Hotline Miami, Mark of the Ninja, and Fast and Light, Mark of the Ninja. Every day. Mark of the Ninja every day. It's fantastic. A great stealth game. Really, really interesting mechanics, and so much fun. So much fun with that. Use a controller if you're playing on PC, I'd say. It controls much better. but it's brilliant. FTL, extremely addicting, extremely brutal, very difficult. Like, I haven't even finished it on normal yet because it's like literally like the last 2 sections just fuck me every single time. But yeah, so my guess for that would be Mark of the Ninja, although it'll probably be Hotline Miami. Best handheld game: Animal Crossing New Leaf, Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, Little Big Planet PS Vita, Hotline Miami, Fire Emblem Awakening, Castlevania Lord of Shadow, Mirror of Fate, Assassin's Creed 3 Liberation, Soul Sacrifice, and Persona 4 Golden. This is annoying because I'm right on the eve of getting a 3DS and playing like all of these games, but I don't have one yet. But on the face of it, my favourite in that category that I'm really, really, really looking forward to playing is Fire Emblem Awakening. It looks just so cool, so cool. So that'll be my vote for that one. Best storytelling: Call of Duty Black Ops 2, ? The Last of Us, BioShock Infinite, Metro Last Light, The Walking Dead, Halo 4, Dishonored, Lego City Undercover, Tomb Raider, Call of Juarez Gunslinger, Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons, and Virtue's Last Reward. Obviously the one that's probably garnered the most press in terms of story is BioShock Infinite, with possibly Last of Us coming pretty close, and The Walking Dead's obviously up there as well. I've no idea why Black Ops is there. It may have a good story, but that's not why people play Black Ops games and Call of Duty games. This is just not the reason, so I don't really get why it's there. Dishonored had a fantastic story. Really, really interesting. I got really involved with it. Very immersive. Very interesting struggle in that story. Really, really cool. Tomb Raider, I played and enjoyed thoroughly Tomb Raider. The story got a bit silly, but Tomb Raider stories usually do. As soon as like the supernatural element comes into it, it all got a little bit silly, but I very much enjoyed it. The Walking Dead, huge, colossal beast of a game this year, so it's a close one. I think BioShock Infinite, Last of Us, as I said, story-wise, I don't actually think it was that deep. BioShock Infinite it's garnered so much love and so recently, and I think games released closer to the time of awards, or like films released closer to the time of award ceremonies, still have that like love and respect that people have for it recently before it kind of shies out of the limelight a little bit. So I think purely because it came out like a long time after The Walking Dead, I think BioShock Infinite will probably take that one. That's my prediction. Best multiplayer: F1 2012, Battlefield 3 Endgame, Payday 2, FIFA 13, PES 2013, Call of Duty Black Ops 2, Nintendo Land, Halo 4, Borderlands 2, Sonic All-Star Racing Transformed, StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm, Company of Heroes 2. I hope Payday 2 wins it, as a bit of more of an indie. I hope Payday 2 takes that. Best mobile game: XCOM Enemy Unknown, Ridiculous Fishing, Super Hexagon, Deus Ex The Fall, Rayman Jungle Run, Total War Battles Shogun, which is just like all mixed up of Shogun Total War. Interesting. Anyway, Joe Danger Touch, Year Walk, Punch Quest. I want Punch Quest to win that just because it has a cool name. I've seen a little tiny bit of it, and I've seen a little tiny bit of Deus Ex 4, but I'm not really a mobile gamer, to be honest. So I'd like to see the Deus Ex or Punch Quest take that, because I love Deus Ex and Punch Quest is hilarious. Best visual design: the contenders in this one are The Last of Us, Halo 4, BioShock Infinite, Dishonored, Ni no Kuni, Wrath of the White Witch, Hotline Miami, The Unfinished Swan, Metro Last Light, Borderlands 2, Pikmin 3, Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon, Devil May Cry, that's the new one, and God of War Ascension. Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon off the bat, because it nailed that kind of 80s action hero vibe just brilliantly. I think as not just as a graphic spectacle, which it was stunning as well, but as a whole package of the like vision of the art, the kind of inception of taking the idea of, well, take 80s action hero and what they thought the future would be like back then, and then take it to its final conclusion of a stunning looking thing, which also has all these brilliant little art assets around it. I think that one was fantastic. BioShock Infinite obviously looks beautiful. Last of Us looked incredible. Halo 4 looked pretty beautiful. Dishonored, I don't think looked that amazing, but as a world, it was very, very high in terms of art fidelity. Metro Last Light looks stunning. Borderlands 2, meh, but I think cell shadedness is kind of, it's kind of what Borderlands does, but I think it's kind of outdated now. I'd love to see Far Cry get that, but I think Last of Us will probably take that one. Best platform. So we've either got, this is a weird one really, Steam, Wii U, Nintendo 3DS, Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, PS Vita, iOS App Store, Google Play, or GOG.com. I'd love to see GOG take that, just because I think, in terms of what I've used this year, it's definitely Steam, because I'm a PC gamer, so you have to use Steam pretty much. Everything, even if you buy a game somewhere else, it usually comes with a code that you put into Steam to run the game. Getting a 3DS in a couple of weeks for my birthday, and I'm incredibly looking forward to playing with it. I mean, it looks like so much fun. I'm kind of looking forward to becoming a child again, and mobile gaming like that was just fantastic when I was a kid. Game Boy Advance, and I had a Game Boy SP, and I still got a DS, so I don't really play it anymore. But yeah, super looking forward to playing it, but it's got to be Steam. I think Steam's got to take that, really, for me. But I'd love to see GOG take it. That'd be fantastic. So Steam is my prediction for best gaming platform. Here's another slightly odd category. This is best gaming moment. This is all about like set pieces and things in the industry and all that kind of stuff. So I'll read you through the nominees. Trying Oculus Rift for the first time. MGS Revengeancening Senator boss fight. Bioshock Infinite Hallelujah, Mass Effect 3 Citadel DLC Party, the Devil May Cry Bob Barbas boss fight, Dishonored Lady Boyle's Last Party, Far Cry 3 The Definition of Insanity, Hotline Miami Chapter 8 Disco, The Walking Dead The Boy in the Attic, Assassin's Creed 3 The Templar Twist, The Unfinished One The King's Dream, The Last of Us Joel's Loss, Tomb Raider, Radio Tower Climb, Dead Space 3, A Surprising Death, and Halo 4, Cortana's Fate. I don't know what some of them reference. Obviously, if you've played the game, they're assuming that you'll know the reference. So mine would be The Last of Us Joel's Loss, because I'm assuming for everyone who's played it, that's a bit at the beginning where he loses his daughter, and that I wasn't even playing it, and that made me blub a little bit. So I think it's got to be The Last of Us Joel's Loss for me. Although the boy in the attic in The Walking Dead was a pretty hard-hitting moment. That's sort of one of the grittier moments of that little series. And it was very, very powerful and beautifully written as well. So it's difficult to do that kind of thing without it being seen as kind of pretentious, or you're using this fun platform of video games to tell a serious message. How dare you? And they did that very well. But my prediction for this one is The Last of Us Joel's Loss. Innovation of the year. Now we have either the Ouya, Twitch.tv, Nintendo Direct, Miiverse, Wonderbook, Smart Glass, Oculus Rift, Defiance, meh, Curiosity What's Inside the Cube, and Turtle Beach Air Force XP510. I've honestly never heard of them. Maybe I should have. I think it's got to be the Oculus Rift. I mean, the Ouya was kind of a nothing. It's like the Taoful console, essentially, is what people are calling it nowadays. Defiance was, I assume they're referencing the idea of a video game affecting a TV show, but that would imply that the video game is good and not a buggy piece of crap, and that the TV show is good as well. They both have to pull you in. I think it's far too much of a risk, and I don't think people are going to do it very much. I think it's got to go to the Oculus Rift. It's just so cool, and it could be the next thing. It could be like the next big movement in video games, potentially. Hopefully. Fingers crossed there's something, because I'd love for it to be pushed forward to the next envelope, Studio of the Year. So this is the best game designer of the year, and it is either DICE, Telltale Games, Ubisoft Montreal, Naughty Dog, 343 Industries, EA Canada, boo, Irrational Games, Nintendo Intelligent Systems, Ninja Theory, Playground Games, Riot Games, Arcane Studios, The Creative Assembly, and SI Games. I've got to go for... But this is basically who made the best game of the year, pretty much. That's pretty much what you're voting for. And if we're going for who made the best game of the year, I think I've got to go for Naughty Dog, maybe. Irrational Games. I think Irrational Games are going to win that one, and I hope they do, because they've got a cool name and I like their symbol. This is another kind of silly one. You've got YouTube Gamer. So the nominees are Yogscast, Ali A, Smooth McGroove, Francis, Flizzwids, some guy, I don't know, Game Wank, nice name, and BitSocket. So Yogscast, probably going to win that. The next category and second to last is Most Wanted. Titanfall, The Division, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, Need for Speed Rivals, Dark Souls 2, Call of Duty Ghosts, Xbox One, PlayStation 4, The Elder Scrolls Online, Thief, Watch Dogs, Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain, Destiny, Battlefield 4, Super Smash Bros, and Batman Arkham Origins. It's between two closely. Watch Dogs and Titanfall are the two that I'm most looking forward to. Titanfall looks really, really, really interesting. Watch Dogs looks like my kind of game. Like open worldy, fucking with stuff, fucking with people. It's the kind of game that I love to play. Witcher 3 obviously looks really cool. Like from the first, they've released a couple of little cinematic trailers now, and they both look sweet. It's cool seeing Geralt a little bit older with his beard. He's rocking the facial hair, incidentally. Batman Arkham Origins. Are people really super excited for that game? I mean, I really enjoyed the other Arkham games, but I can't say I'm like frothing at the mouth to get my hand on Batman Arkham Origins. My vote for that is probably going to be Watch Dogs, because it's just garnered so much interest when you've seen so little of it, really. So here we go. This is the last category. Golden Joystick's Game of the Year. The nominees are Guild Wars 2, Fire Emblem Awakening, Hotline Miami, Ni no Kuni, Wrath of the White Witch, The Last of Us, Borderlands 2, Dishonored, Forza Horizon, Halo 4, Far Cry 3, Tomb Raider, Bioshock Infinite, The Walking Dead, Pikmin 3, Call of Duty Black Ops 2, and Saints Row 4. That's not it. I don't know why I said and. I concluded my sentence even though that's not all the nominees. Splinter Cell Blacklist and Grand Theft Auto 5. Grand Theft Auto 5 would take that without a shadow of a doubt if the multiplayer launch had been flawless. Which I don't think it ever could have been. People were staking way too much on that for it to be a perfect launch, and it was never going to be. I don't think people expected it to be quite as bad as it is. Splinter Cell Blacklist was a very good Splinter Cell game. I don't think it's going to win Game of the Year. Neither do I think Tomb Raider is going to win. It was good, but it wasn't like mind-blowing. Dishonored, again, I loved it personally, but I don't think it's necessarily a contender against some of the other big ones up here. The Walking Dead is a contender. Certainly. I certainly think The Walking Dead is a contender. Last of Us and Bioshock Infinite are two major contenders. Something like Call of Duty could get it just by the force of their audience. But again, I don't think there's enough. I don't think there'll be enough. My money for that one is on Bioshock Infinite. Thank you very much for watching this special presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. If you don't agree with anything I've said, if you want to give your ideas for the votes, then please comment down below and we'll see what you think. Because, I don't know, this is just one man's opinion. One man's opinion on some games. Some of the games he hadn't even played, but he still gave you his opinion because that's what the internet is, mother trucker. If you could be so kind, you can go to jamesjppavitt.com. The link will also be in the description, which is my new website where all of my stuff is going to go. I'm going to be posting all the videos that I'm posting here on YouTube, as well as some blogs about the gaming industry, and even actually some poetry that I've written and performed. So there's going to be all sorts. It's going to be like the hub. Everything me is going to be there, basically, as well as some things that aren't me and that I'm going to steal from other places. Go there and bookmark it and visit it every single day, and like, I don't know, like when it's on the screen, like rub your face on it or something. You know, show me the love. Kind of. Don't show me too much. I don't want all of it. I want a bit of it. Just a little bit of love. Like, from your face, not from any other part of your body. I should probably finish this video now. So thanks very much for watching. I've been JP. This has been a look at the Golden Joysticks.
This day is grim. It's raining. What wonderful weather for